Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another animation analysis for Genshin Impact property. It's been a while, but this is Mizuki's Dining on a Dish of Dreams. This was actually requested specifically by somebody in my Discord because I wanted to get to the God's Limits, but I was told many times by multiple people that that is very spoilery, and if I'm playing through the game, I probably should avoid that one for now. So I listened, asked on my Discord which one I should get to next, and this one was pointed to as something with a unique art style that I'll probably have a lot to talk about. So that always piques my interest, so I'll be getting to this one today, and without further ado, let's go! I was told that she was a therapist, so now this makes sense. Mood.
Don't be nervous. Come right on in.
Oh. So she's like, don't worry about it.
When we suppress our emotions, our dreams are where they manifest themselves. And the deeper we bury them, the more likely they are to manifest as nightmares.
Ooh.
My job is to help you digest those emotions.
I love the visual cues
I'm not a kid
to their
anymore.
issues.
I can do this on my own.
Sometimes you just need a hug.
You don't want your parents to worry. I understand. But keeping everything bottled up will only worry them all the more.
Ooh. There's really nice, like, fun effects
You're
work
doing
on this,
just
too.
great. It's okay to need help sometimes. And there's no harm in being a kid again. Once in a while. You're right. Huh?
Their, like, live 2D rigs are always really good, too.
Welcome. Now what can I help you with today?
Wow, that actually did have quite a few things in there. A lot of the effects work, especially, that I'm going to love to talk about. The colors were beautiful. The palette was fantastic. Oh, man. I mean, I don't think this is going to be a super long video given how short the actual product here was, but man, we're going to have stuff. This is fun. So like I said, there's not too much on the technical side that I'll really be getting into for this one. Not because there's nothing noteworthy, but just because the short has more personality than technically challenging moments. But I will be getting into some psychology, which is hilariously fitting. Starting from the initial shots of the clients working through their problems, the design language immediately locks itself in. For each character, we have a different room design and a color palette to match their personalities and core design features. I'll be talking a little bit more about that color palette thing in a little bit though. I figure a lot of this is probably manufactured by Mizuki to cater to each person's preferences to enhance the comfort. Their movements evolving between each shot clues us into their personal context, which comes to a head later on in the short, and again, we'll be getting to that. There is quite a bit of that psychology stuff. Now, moving on to Mizuki's reaction shot, there's just some good attention to detail in her mannerisms as well. Obviously, she's tired after a session. Therapists are constantly shouldering burdens, and that can weigh heavily on their health. As she slumps back to take a breather, the addition of bags under her eyes, ears relaxing, the hair getting frazzled, relaxing the knees, and the single bead of sweat helps sell all of that. It's these minor details stacking together that sell her mental state. Plus, they nailed that slouch too. Getting a slouch correct from a low front angle shot like this is no easy feat. The perspective fights you at challenging camera angles like this, but they managed to sell that very well. I also really enjoy that the next client to come in also hints at her struggle from the few seconds we get of her. Much like the others, we're given just a subtle glimpse into her mental state so we can start to unpack her story as things go on. Like I said, this short focuses a lot on personality. The character animations here are as detailed as they are refreshing to look at in this pastel pop design. I really like this. The next shot, being a reference to MC Escher's famous work Relativity, is also a really cool addition because not only does it reflect Mizuki's work ethic, but Relativity is literally a piece about perspective and how changing it can drastically affect the context of your general outlook on life. If there was ever a perfect work to sum up being a therapist, this is definitely it. It's also worth noting the ring that comes down for the transition. I believe that this is definitely an attempt to visualize the whole pulling back the curtain thing, but it also resembles a hypnosis pendulum as it swings down, which is probably how we got entered into this dream world of sorts. So now on to the subject of perspective and a little bit more psychology of the color theory and everything. The pastel palette of this project is very important. So let's dive into pastels and what they do to your mind. In short, pastels are soft and inviting, often warm and desaturated compared to primary colors, so this has an extremely calming effect for most. And I'm sure that you can see the correlation I'm starting to make here. Shades like lavender and mint or lime green invoke calmness and revitalization, while other colors like baby blue remind us of open spaces and clear skies. Mizuki's design alone has this relationship, but the domain she guides us through is filled with more varieties of these shades, offering an overall relaxing experience. Pastels are soothing by nature and trick the mind into believing it's safe and content. There are theories that this is because lighter colors reflect more sunlight, which invokes thoughts of spring and the sun. Universally comforting experiences. Using color theory this way was a really good call for a character whose whole job is reflecting that sensation. Now we get to see the other clients again, which gives us a full context of their fears. The first woman has all eyes on her, and she's drowning in a box of all things. So great expectations, burnout, the pressures of a life viewed and judged by many, perhaps overworked and underappreciated. The second woman is surrounded by a broken Escher-style staircase, and she looks stressed while floating around. That's probably a loss of direction, purpose, and inability to ground herself in anything, and feeling abandoned by life. She can't find a way to center any of that. The man is shown strung up, choking on streamers and surrounded by lights and microphones. Performance anxiety, textbook performance anxiety, a fear of messing up in front of the world, and the world perceiving every action as permanent. I also adore this extra detail that the microphones follow his every movement, but Mizuki actively covers one and turns it away, even just slightly lessening the load. I love that they give us these to mull over. They may just be included to further the dialogue, but they're all very real fears, manifested in a nicely metaphorical fashion. The main girl we follow kind of spells her story out in comparison to the others, but the visuals used for that fear of leaving the nest and wanting to be trusted on your own are all the same level of powerful. It honestly makes me wonder if the storyboarding team based these characters on themselves, or at least their experiences, since it can be very hard to manifest feelings that you've never experienced yourself. But honestly, they're probably just that good. Now, the most technical fun they had here, aside from the set design, is probably this scene of Mizuki helping out the main girl fight her literal demons. It uses inspiration from an Itano circus, which I've actually talked about on the channel before, but basically it's this exact sort of layout where there are projectiles homing in on the protagonist with heavy emphasis on the tails, creating a visual complexity. It was a method popularized by anime legend Ichiro Itano for Gundam and has been referenced and replicated by thousands ever since, similar to the bike slide from Akira. I also really enjoy the following shot of the two flying across the island. It's just a brilliant spectacle to end a short like this on, pulling together some of those fantastical elements from the visuals before we end on a return to the real world, where it kind of frames these adventures as if Mizuki is actually entering entering her clients' dreams to help confront their struggles. I don't know how accurate that may be, but with all of the surrealism and fantasy concepts throughout, as well as that pendulum I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't be too shocked to learn that this was more literal than figurative. And that's pretty much it. Thank you all so very much for watching. I know this one was a little bit shorter than my usual ones, but that's because the source was a little bit shorter than my usual ones. Also, I did skip some details because I thought they were a little too obvious, like the whole her eating everything, like eating the dreams. A dream eater analogy feels very obvious to me, so I didn't like harp on that. I wanted to focus on the psychology and everything included there, so I hope you all enjoyed it nonetheless and liked hearing what I had to say about it. But either way, I will be having more of these coming out soon. Another Genshin one. I've got another Honkai Star Rail one I think on the way too, so like there's a few more in the list, but I'm always open to more recommendations. So if you have an animated short from basically anything that you want me to give a look at and give my opinions on and break stuff down, drop in the comments below. I usually grab all the comments I see and compile everything into a list so I can keep an active like process going for some of these, because like for this one I didn't have a plan like I mentioned in the beginning, so I had to go and look for one kind of in an emergency. So if you do have something, please let me know so I can add it to my list. And otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!